It's a recording, or there it is. Just went out.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Ulivieri. I'm here with Matt Berrafato. Let's just center that. Here we are at episode 7 of the final third of life. Matt, introduce yourself.
Yes, Matt Berrafato, the Elephant Hunter. Matt, the Elephant Hunter at elephanthunting.net is my place where I like to reside online. The topics that we're bringing into the final third are these things that just are on the top. We think they're on the top of everybody's mind who's in that age group.
Yep.
And we've had some things that have happened to both of us that are. We know it's top of mind because people are bringing it up to us. Right. It's not like we're going out looking for this information.
Exactly.
And Bill, why don't you share a little bit about the post that you made last time we talked.
So we just want to encourage you to reach out to us through Facebook Messenger, send us an email at our email addresses, call us on the phone, leave a voice message if you like. But last week I posted, on February 18th, I posted a picture of me and my dad. And we were talking about power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney. And when I asked my dad, have you ever been through that before? Like, what was it like when your dad died? My grandfather passed away. And he said, and I quote, "Bill, we ran around for 2 years like a bobcat with his rear end on fire." And he didn't say those exact words. It wasn't a quote. I have to keep this PG. But he said that he ran around like a bobcat with its ass on fire for 2 years. Because my grandfather left no will, no power of attorney, nothing, no location of anything. And so I received this message through Facebook on the 18th from a friend of ours. Her name's Lisa. And she said, "Bill, your Facebook post about getting the power of attorney for your dad really struck a chord. Tim's mom, Rosemary, is in the hospital at this very moment with what they have diagnosed as extremely accelerated late onset ALS. She is not long for the world, it appears, as they have asked for hospice to come for a visit. She refused to get a will, and we have never talked about her power of attorney because she was fine up until last week when she lived with us. This all happened so fast," that's in caps, and so fast. "Now here we are with no authority to make any legal decisions, but while she is here with us, she's coherent mentally, but she cannot talk or sign anything. This is a horrible situation to be in. I am so glad you are talking to your dad about the power of attorney. He is right. We are running around like a bobcat with his ass on fire, trying to figure out what to do and what our options are. Please pray for us and for her." And then 2 days later, on the 22nd, I received another message saying, "Just letting you know that Rosie passed away this morning at 4:45 a.m. So here you go. I posted what I thought was just a fun, kind of humorous picture to Facebook, and all of a sudden I have a family friend who I haven't seen in years contact me to share with me, their story of what they're going through right now and what they did go through. On the power of attorney side.
Right. We just know, me and Bill know that these things are happening to many people.
Yep. And
they're happening. The fact that woman passed away, you feel sorry and sad, and at the same token, you're going, what would happen if she didn't pass away and she was going to live for another year, 2 years, 5 years,
10 years, who knows?
You just don't know.
Right.
And if in this situation, because they had nothing, they literally are like this with their hands tied behind their back, and they can't do anything to help that person and really help the family.
Right.
And what we're doing, why are we doing this video series? We think that there's just so many different in the different arenas of life. We happen to be the first couple that we're doing. The number that we're doing is surrounding this dementia issue, or what happens if you have to have care. What happens if you don't have a power of attorney? If you do have a power of attorney, mm-hmm. What is a power of attorney? Those are kind of things that are just really important to have. And these kind of discussions are, although they're not easy discussions, they're really important to have.
They're important.
And if you don't have them, then you're going to be stuck. And then when you're stuck, that means you can't. You literally, someone is making decisions outside of your control, which is not good for your loved ones.
I totally agree. And actually, I had another friend of mine reach out to me via email, and I'll read that at the next the next episode, I think. But again, this concept of having conversations without borders, put the moose on the table, put the elephant on the table, and talk about these things that nobody wants to talk about. But again, I think framing them is really important. As I said before in episode 1 or 2, that letting my dad know that he's not the bad guy, like for decisions that he had to make that were tough for both my mom and for our family. And once he realized that, he really did always he might not have always made the right decision in looking at the final outcome, but he always did what he thought was best at the time that he made that decision. And he continued that tradition for even until this day. He's still alive, obviously. It was easier for him then to move forward. And another thing is, on that day that I took the picture on February 18th, I told my dad, I said, you remember those old cowboy movies where the cowboy got shot with an arrow? And he takes out this piece of paper and he scribbles like, I, John Doe, being of sound mind and body, hereby bequeath all my worldly possessions to. Well, you can only sign a legal document if you are mentally coherent, if you don't have any diminishment in your mental facility. So when I told my dad that my mom really couldn't, in good faith, sign a legal document because of her early dementia and some of her cognitive issues, you could see he almost turned white as a ghost because he was counting on my mom to be able to be there in case something happened to him. Right. And so I think that was the perfect line that I used. And I'm not saying this to be manipulative. I'm just trying to be honest. I don't think my mom could sign a document. I really don't. Right. And so when my dad realized that, he has a piece of paper on his desk of the things he has to get together for me. And it's hard to do. And it doesn't cost anything. It just costs time.
That's right. It costs time and makes you think. And what's interesting, the last time we were talking, we both have had some deaths of good people, friends, and family just recently. I had one as well just this last week. Bill's has had 3. And, when I do my talks, when I do a lot of my coaching, I talk about this thing called COD. And I make fun of it because I make light of it. I shouldn't say make fun of it. I make light of it. Yes. And COD is your checkout date. On this planet, as far as I know, everyone's got a checkout date. And what happens with the checkout date, so if you look at if you put a continuum on here that goes from here to here, starting here in 8th grade, when you're an 8th grader, and over here when you're COD, when it's your time. Right. The closer you get to COD, that it forces these issues to come to the surface in ways that you're not really expecting. That's what the goal of us doing this talk is to have these topics come up before it's too late. Yep. So you have time when you are of sound mind, and you can have these conversations because it's really going to have, my family, we have 7 kids in my family. I mean, my family, so I have 6 siblings. And this, of who's going to help my dad do what, he put together the powers of attorney. Mm-hmm. Now, the good news is, it's sort of good news, bad news. Oh, you think you get this, that you're being honored by having this. It's not an honor. I'll tell you what, it's really, it's crazy because you have to do things when that person can't. Right. And you don't realize how important that becomes at this stage of their life. And it's like, it's a tough love. It's a form of tough love because it's like, if you don't do this thing now, I am not going to, when they say, oh, I'll leave them. Well, go ahead and leave. What are you going to do? What paper? Where are you going to get a helper? It's not going to be me. Right. If you don't want me, well, these are the kind of conversations you have.
It's like dealing with your kids. If you send me to my room, I'm going to call DCFS. Right. Go ahead. See how that works.
Here's the number. Go ahead.
Here's the number. There's the phone. So you can't. Do our parents hold us hostage because of that? I don't know. Not willingly.
No. Well, and this is where we get this role reversal happens. Mm-hmm. I think this role reversal is real, and it does happen. And I think I may mention it last time. I've got a 2.5-year-old grandson, and I have a father who's going to be 91. Well, it's actually reversing now. It's like we're Liam, my little grandson, is coming up with these things and thoughts where I go, where did that come from? And now my dad can't. And he ran his law practice. He was an attorney for 45 years, and he can't. And now what? And now I have to talk to him like I was talking to a 2-year-old for the most part, and with compassion, with when I say compassion, with respect. Mm-hmm. Yet I have to talk to him that way.
Right. I remember, I think what's happening to me, Matt, is, back in the 80s when I bought my first brand new car, it was something I really, really wanted. I mean, I lusted over a Jeep CJ7. And the second I bought it, I saw them everywhere. So it wasn't until I owned it that I realized just how common it was. Right. And I think what's happening with this dementia, long-term care issue, with the issues that are facing us now that we're in our final third, is because it's happening to me, now I see it everywhere. And my tuning fork is like resonating with people who are going through this. And again, it's not just specifically dementia or Alzheimer's. It's the issues that are facing us in the 60 to 90 plus range. Right.
And again, I think maybe it's a good time. I talk always about 7 arenas of life. And when you look at this issue of dementia that's going on, so the arenas are your family arena, your financial arena, your spiritual arena, your social arena, your mental arena, your career arena, and I'm forgetting one, your family arena, I think. But all 7 of them. And every issue that we're talking about will always affect more than one of those arenas. Right. So this woman, when that happened with her mother-in-law, okay, just the fact that it was a mother-in-law, by the way, okay, how does that affect the family arena? The dynamics that are going on with that. You know it's going to affect the mental arena for both parties, especially if you know, even if it's an in-law, if you love that person, it's still affecting that. You know it's going to be affecting your career arena if you're still working. Right. And if you're not working, you're retired, your career is what? Your career, you still have a career, even though you're not working. Right. What are you doing with your time? And so these issues that we're bringing up are things that are topics that I think need to be discussed, and we're going to continue that on this program.
Another really interesting thing. So again, continue reaching out to us on Facebook. Send us an email. You can email me at info@senecalcapital.com. That's CENACLE. info@senecalcapital.com. Or again, reach out to me through Facebook Messenger. Matt, how can people contact you?
Contact me at matt@elephanthunting.net, and I'm Matt the Elephant Hunter. I'm really honored to be doing this with Bill, and we hope that you do reach out to us and let us know what topics you want to hear about, because those arenas are things that are real for all of us. If you're living on this planet, you live in those arenas, those 7 arenas. And so now when you're in the final third, things are different than they were before, and this is part of what we want to do. So we want to hear from you. So,
and you know, we still have about 5 more minutes until our 20-minute segment is up. 20-minute segments being a third of an hour, so we're trying to be kind of cutesy there. But I wanted to share with the people who are watching that I had a really great conversation with a woman that works at a local memory care facility here in Glenview, and she invited me to partake in a experiment. And really, it's a virtual reality experiment where the person will put on a pair of goggles, headphones, special gloves, and booties that recreate the experience of what it's like going through dementia, someone who's in their 70s or 80s. So the ear set, the headset, you hear like a very high sound as if you had tinnitus, where your hearing capabilities are diminished. The goggles are to give you the experience of having macular degeneration, limited eyesight. The booties are to give you a sense of arthritis because they've got like little pins or sharp objects in there, make it uncomfortable to walk. The gloves are more like mittens, where you can't really get your arms around a lid or a door handle or have the ability to fold a pair of socks. So again, it's meant to be a visual reality type of virtual reality experience to give us and make us more empathetic to people who are in this, who are going through this. And we're going to videotape that. We're going to post it on Facebook. I can't wait for that to happen. It'll be happening sometime in March 2018, middle of March.
2019.
2019, I'm sorry.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. March 2019. So please check back and watch the episodes. And again, please reach out to us, ask us questions, find out how we can be a voice for you guys, for the viewers to help them through this stage.
So name the topics. We'll bring other guests that will have expertise in these topics, as well as people that can give us more insight.
Everything we need to deal with this problem is in the North Shore, Glenview, Northbrook, Deerfield. We've got people here that can handle all these issues. We don't need to go outside of ourselves, perhaps. So again, we're trying to stay very local and solve these problems for people in our community by people from the community.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks.
Until next time.
Next episode coming up.